it's Scott ROCKFILE back with another podcast review. Going to talk about the 1991 film Highway to Hell in its new Region B Blu-ray copy. This $9 million movie was released in 1992. Hemdale, the movie company that produced it, was about to go through bankruptcy, and this movie would get lost to time. It finally, hit streaming, what we called back then. It hit cable services in 93, and then eventually got a Blu-ray and DVD release in 2016, just 10 years ago. Movie has languished in purgatory, to call it, of all things. A Dutch filmmaker, Ed de Jong, directed the film. He's actually on the extras on here. Brian Hegland wrote the movie. Patrick Bergen, Adam Stork, Chad Lowe, Christy Swanson, Richard Farnsworth. There's quite a few actors in here that you would recognize, and it's not a bad flick at all. At 94 minutes, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It wants to have a kind of Beetlejuice vibe. The long and the short of it is, Charlie and Rachel are just your typical American couple trying to elope to Las Vegas, driving his pizza vehicle. They stop and get gas at a local gas station attendant, Sam. They're off the beaten path, and they want to continue down this road. They think it's a shortcut to Vegas. He recommends they don't, but they do, and well, not to give any spoilers away, Rachel is kidnapped by this zombie hell cop, and Sam has to follow her to hell and bring her back. Yeah, this actually has some Greek tragedy stuff mixed into it. They didn't have a giant budget, but they did have a lot of imagination. Now, this is not one of the best movies you're going to watch. It's probably about 3 out of 5 stars. But they were really trying some things here, and they really swung for the fences. And if you're familiar with the whole Orpheus and Eurydice, tragedy from Greek mythology, this is a little bit of that. It has some really good practical effects. There was no digital at the time. There is some whatever they called the kind of effects where they kind of scratched on the film and put colors covering up things and when people disappeared and things like that. But I think the acting is on par with what they were going for. It's actually well directed. It didn't all come together to be a true cult classic, but after it was over, I'm like, it had some charm. It had a romance to it. It had some gory practical effects. It was, kind of weird. And I enjoyed that about it. This is a transmission release. The UK company has switched to Blu-ray. Sorry for the us. Their first 2 special editions were boxed 4K special editions of Night of the Juggler, a very interesting movie from the late 70s, early 80s that's really good. And then they put out The Stuntman, which is an incredible movie with Peter O'Toole. These 2 box sets alone said, I'm going to start buying these transmission sets. Well, 3 and 4 were Blu-ray in their Region B, so I'm very thankful that I have an all-region, encompassing player that I could watch this film. The other movie is special effects, and I'll review that. But then they're releasing something that I'm not really into. And now they've announced they're going to have another one of these big 4K box sets for Vampire's Kiss with Nicolas Cage. So I pre-ordered that, and we'll do a review of that. But in the meantime, I've decided I'm not going to get all the transmission because some of the movies, like Criterion Collection and other boutique labels, they're just not some of those movies I don't want. But again, I've never seen Highway to Hell. I've heard a lot about it over the years. Obviously, it's named after an AC/DC song that they didn't use in the movie for whatever reason, probably couldn't afford it. But the movie was a lot of fun, and one of those things that, in the early 90s, when I was renting stuff at a video store, I would have rented this more than once. Got some car chases, got some shootouts, got some demons and makeup, and hell is basically the desert, which is kind of interesting, and the people he meets along the way, and there's some plot twists. All in all, it was entertaining. It's not an amazing film, but it's definitely something that, well, if you've never seen it, you go, that was better than I expected it to be. And what more could you want from an early 90s movie that got lost to bankruptcy and that kind of thing? So everybody in it does a fine job. I think had it been tweaked a little bit more, it could have been a huge hit. But between what was going on with the movie studio and the director who was about to move on to do bigger and better things, he also did Right Said Fred and a few others. Anyway, it's available at a Region B Blu-ray. That doesn't help you if you don't have a region-free player, but if you do, I would pick this up. It does have a Blu-ray release from over 10 years ago, but when I looked this up, the main reason I got it, it's really hard to find and really expensive. And honestly not worth a big budget, but if you get it for like the $20-25 that I did as an import, it's definitely worth watching. There's some extras. There's some interviews on there with the director and a few other people. I wish there were more extras, and I wish it had been 4K, but for what it is, it looked great on Blu-ray. The soundtrack was fine for its era, and the movie was quite a shock. So between 2.5 and 3 stars, maybe up to 3.5, because they did try some creative things out of 5. That would be my review of this movie, Highway to Hell. Something you probably never saw. You might be interested if you like the lower budget horror comedy kind of thing. I think they were really shooting for kind of a Beetlejuice thing, and they didn't quite get there. But other than that, it was a lot of fun, and I had fun with it. Also, look out for Kevin Peter Hall, the guy who played Predator. He's Charon, the guy who takes you across the River Styx. So that was also an interesting. Jerry Stiller, Ben Stiller, the entire Stiller family, and Ann Mira are in the movie as well. Ben Stiller wasn't a big star yet, and so this was kind of an early thing. They brought the whole family along because they thought it'd be fun. It is an interesting film, and that's what the best thing about it. So Highway to Hell from 1991-92. It's available from Transmission. It's Region B Blu-ray, but it's worth picking up if you can play such things. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. More podcasts on the way. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a spectacular day.